Hello, hello, and welcome back to our Finding Better podcast. My name is John Suzuki, and I'm your host. And this is where you come to learn about real life experiences of people who have been there and done that and finding better in their own life. So you can take those lessons and apply them to your life. And so if you learn something really cool, please share it, get it out there, and let folks know about this because it's all about sharing and it's all about helping people live better lives, right? Okay, good. So I am joined by my guest today, Leslie Russell. She's an amazing woman. And I am thrilled. This is her first podcast. So you guys be really nice to be gentle. And so anyway, just by introduction, she's a mother of five. She's a grandmother. She's a spiritual intuitive coach, and she's an energy healer. Just amazing. And she's traveled the world. And what she does is she helps individuals and groups and organizations and businesses align with their highest potential. And we're going to talk about that. What does that mean, their highest potential for growth and transformation? Leslie, listen, welcome to Finding Better. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, John. It really is an honor. And I truly mean that to be on your podcast. The minute I met you, I just knew you were a very special individual and our energy just immediately clicked. So I'm really happy
Yeah,
to
yeah,
connect with you.
yeah. In the world that we live in today, it's such a hard world. I tell folks all the time, I am so grateful that I'm not growing up in the world today because it is so much harder, I think, in a lot of ways, than when I was growing up. And with technology and with social media, I mean, it comes with really cool stuff. But there are unintended consequences for everything, and there's also the other side of that sword. And one of the things I talk about a lot in my talks is it's all about love. It's all about love. And that's what you do. That's what you help people with. So I teaching that part of life is something that I've always struggled with. I live it, but teaching it is something um I have a hard time connecting with people sometimes.
Mm.
But you do it all the time. You do it all the time. You talk about the vibration of love. You talk about love as being the medicine of our times. What does that mean?
Oh gosh, that's like such a huge it's a huge topic to unpack.
Yeah.
But it actually is, it's so complex and it's also just so simple, John.
Yes. Yeah.
It's really just recognizing love. I talk about it as the medicine within. It's it's an invisible power that actually, if we were able to harness all the energy and love, it has as much power as a nuclear reactor or as anything else. All the invisible powers in the universe are really the most powerful ones. If you think about it, gamma
Yeah.
rays, nuclear power, and ultraviolet and sound. But love is something even more profound that connects us. It's what actually is the connecting glue of the universe. It's how I believe God created the world,
Hmm.
and it's being infused into the world at every single second. And without that infusion of love, we would just cease to exist. We wouldn't be here. And um it's what makes life worth living for me. I mean, as a mom, I agree with you entirely. As a mom of five and a teacher, and just seeing what's going on out there. And it's people's lack of understanding that we're all connected, that we're all in this together. And teaching people how to love is really the most natural, it should be the most natural experience and expression of our humanity. It
It
really
should
should.
be, right? Yes.
Uh-huh.
And why isn't it?
That's such a great question. So that's a great question. Why isn't it? Because people are not in touch with the truth of who they are. They think they have to be something other than their true selves. They have what's
Ooh.
called the ego persona
Yes.
that separates them from their deepest self. So, my job as a teacher and as a spiritual coach is to remind them of their perfection and their wholeness and being perfect, that they don't need to be fixed, that little children come into the world loving themselves. They
Yes.
do. And
Yes.
it's all the shoulds, the coulds, the I must, I have to be this, or I'm not that, or it's our families, our social conditioning, our religious institutions, and it happens at a pretty young age when we stop loving ourselves. I would say 3 years old, where we have a self-conscious that arises, that inhibits our expression of love for ourselves, and we start judging harshly.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, the external environment doesn't help, right?
Oh,
One of the things I talk about is, curiosity, right? I
mm,
encourage people to rebuild that curiosity muscle, if you will, because we had it as kids. We had
yes.
it as kids and it was beaten out of us, right? Well, that's a stupid question, or, that's ugly. You know what I mean? And the world is really, really harsh. And it's, you know, I believe, I believe I've experienced that energy of love that you're talking about. And one one thing, this is just a weird story I'm going to share with you. But one day I'm driving down the road and I just decide to, just I believe in spirits. I believe that there's an afterlife. And so both of my parents passed away. So I just say, "Hey, mom and dad, thanks a lot. Thank you for my life." And I went to my grandparents. I said, "Hey, grandparents, thank you very much." There's four of those. I said, "Hey, great grandparents, thank you very much." There's eight of those. Eight of those, right?
Right.
And 16 and 32 and so forth. And so I'm thinking about this, and I'm going down the road just thanking every generation for 50 generations. And the 10th generation sounds like this: "Dear great, 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 great grandparents, thank you very much." And I'm driving down the road like a lunatic, just talking to myself. And then, but what I realized was that, when you get to the 50th generation,
Hmm.
if you do two times two 50 times, you get to over a quadrillion.
Right.
Okay, 50 generations. That's a quadrillion people.
Right.
It sounds crazy. There's never been a quadrillion people on the planet. So then you go, okay, so how does it work? How does that work? Because you have to have two people to make a baby. And and so the answer is intermixing. And I told my wife that the first time, and she goes, "Ooh, that's gross." But the thing is, right? There's never been that many people, but the math works. And so I came to realize that, that's part of where the universal energy of love comes from, is that we're all related. We are all mathematically, statistically related,
Of course we are.
right?
Of course we are.
Yeah. And
I mean,
so
that's without question. This is one of the precepts I teach is we're one human family. We're one human
we
family.
are. We
Oh, there's
are.
no question. We all listen. You're Japanese. I'm Jewish. There's African American, Africa,
Right,
China,
right, right. Everywhere.
Peru.
Yep.
But in essence, I mean, you're doing this a mathematical equation, but we all come from the spiritual source.
Absolutely.
We all are from God. We all spiritually come from one ultimate soul source. And
Yes.
then we break off as we become incarnate souls into bodies here
Yeah.
on this planet.
Yeah.
And the soul, which is where we understand love, it's an eternal experience. When you're in love with someone, when you love someone, it's coming from that place of eternity where you are forever connected and as we are always connected from up above. It's the experience of knowing that we're all unit, we're all one humanity. I think, listen, there's so much going on in the world right now. And to me and to you, if people would just realize, if they would have this spiritual awakening, which you're talking about, it's part of enlightenment, really, that this is where the evolution of our humanity needs to start focusing and moving towards, or we're just going to be in a big mess and people are going to continue killing each other and fighting. And if you realize I'm you, John, and you're me, we may look differently, we have different ethnic origin, but who cares? We all have the same inner core. We do. Children know this organically. They know it. They know it, little kids, before they can understand and before they're taught differently. And so this is what I teach. I bring people into the jungle in Colombia,
In the jungle of Colombia.
and we have these incredible, yes, to get away from modern society,
Yeah.
which is what you're talking about. And we unclothe and take off our masks and take off our personas. And you're had some very successful career, and I had a theater career, and we take all that off so that we stand naked in front of each other, um, and see, who are you? Who are you really? Well, gosh, I have the same heart as you. I have the same yearnings, human yearnings. I want love, I want compassion, I want to be accepted, I want all the things. And I want all the things that are very human, that really emanate from a spiritual source. So people, we have all kinds of different, I work with all types of different healers. I'm a healer myself, but I
Hmm.
can always see and start with, that's why I really, you were just such a pleasure when I met you. You just have this beautiful open energy, and you're open to seeing somebody else for who they are, their soul. So, and this is real stuff, it's, there's a lot of veils covering us. And there's a
Oh
lot of
my
veils
gosh. Oh
in
my
the
gosh.
physical plane, a lot of veils.
Absolutely.
And the more sensitive we learn to become, we start taking those veils off and away, and we see the energy behind it, which is love.
when you think about it, you said that children understand this organically,
Oh yeah,
right? And then the world takes it
happens
away.
happens to
Uh,
them. Yeah.
do you also see older people, the elderly coming back to it? Is there a return to it towards, you know, it's there at the beginning of life, and I'm wondering if towards the end of life people start realizing that's there. I mean, have you seen any kind of a correlation in the experience that you've had working with people?
It's interesting. I mean, physiologically, they absolutely become like children, the toileting and the sleeping and the eating
Right,
habits and
right,
all that.
right.
Spiritually, I think it depends on the nature of the human being.
Okay,
I think
okay,
if they've
that's fair.
had beautiful lives and they actually have awakened to this part of themselves and become a little bit conscious
Yeah,
about what they're really doing here, and it's not all about earning money and being successful and owning the car and owning the house,
right.
and they've actually taken time to do some spiritual work. I would say absolutely. It actually, and my
Interesting.
mother, for instance, God bless her, thank God she's 89. She just was visiting with me. Her love of life and deep appreciation. She says, I wake up every day with blessing. But I don't think that all her friends are like that.
Yeah, yeah. No, that
It's a
is a
good
one.
question, though, John. It's a great question. It should be that way.
Yeah, yeah, and and just full transparency, because I say it like I see it. I've
Yeah.
been told that my superpower is that I say the things no one else wants to say, and I ask the
Oh, good.
questions no one else wants to ask. But people listening to what you just said, a lot of people, and because we start off with children who've gone and we've gone away from that. In today's world, a lot of people would go, you stand naked in front of each other. That's really weird. But
Oh, well, I mean, metaphorically.
oh, okay. Oh, good. Oh, good. Not physically. Okay.
No, we don't
Oh,
stand naked. No,
okay. Okay. Okay.
metaphorically, people put on masks. They put on
Got it.
metaphorical masks, not
Okay.
standing naked. No, we don't do that.
Okay,
No,
okay, good. Okay, because
that's
I
hilarious.
kind of went,
No,
okay, well, that's interesting. And then I started thinking, but actually I started thinking about it, and I started thinking, boy, that would be an exercise of surrender, right? And
100%.
so, huh?
Listen, I'll tell you something. I mean, I've been in and had workshops where it's for couples where they do things like that to see, when they're having marital issues or just to
Yeah.
develop. This is part of love also. I teach another course called Sacred Sexuality, which is part of the love, where people learn to develop deep, true intimacy. And but yeah, so go on. You were saying something about they stand
Yeah,
naked
no,
in front of
and
each other.
I was just
You picked up on that one, my
Yeah,
friend.
I did. Well, I mean, naked. It's like you say the word naked, and I go, huh? But anyway, but I think that's part of Western society too, right? And so, but and anything different. But I was going to talk about that, but we don't have to talk about that because that's not what you meant. But I love the idea of getting people out of their environment, especially the environment that has led them to where we are. I'm saying that really, really poorly, but to get them out of the
Status
element.
quo.
Yeah, get them out of the
Status
status
quo.
quo and get somewhere where they can really focus and be at peace and be with people of like minds. So so absent if there are people on their journey right now, and everybody's on their journey,
Right.
but as people are on their journey, are there a couple of things? Are there any exercises or any things that you tell people to do, or you suggest to people that they can do to get them closer to that love that you talk about?
Of course. Of course. There's so many. Um, Two of my favorite things I'll share.
Uh-huh.
One is, and I work with all kinds of people who have deep issues,
Sure.
with suicidal addictions. Depression is just a hugely pervasive issue. Um, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, John. I do work with some psychedelic medicines when they come into Colombia.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that's a very big part of our healing process, our healing journey. Two things that's also that part of the medicine within is people can look, it's called intimacy gazing, where you look into the mirror and you look in your eyes and you look deeply into the mirror and look deeply into your eyes and you just tell yourself, I love you. And you just look again and you keep looking till you really see yourself. And you just tell yourself, I love you. Thank you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for being you. I love you more than you'll ever know. And people have a really hard time doing that. The
Yeah.
other thing, a really hard time.
Yeah.
Really hard time. But we all need to do it because we all are so hard on ourselves and we're all judging ourselves and we're all thinking that I wasn't good enough at this and I didn't do that and I'm not this and I'm not that. When you deserve love, not because you're anything, it's just because you're a child of God and because you are valuable. If you're here, it means you're worthy. You're here. God makes no mistakes. You're here because you're worthy of being here. Another beautiful exercise, and you can do this with one of your loved ones, a spouse or a child. Just look at them in the eyes deeply for 5 minutes. Just look at them. Look at them in the eyes. Just look in their eyes and see their soul. See past all the things they do and all the things they are, and just look at them and see if you can see the reflection of yourself in their eyes. It's a beautiful, deep exercise. I do this with people. We line up and they stand and people, and then we say, see your mother, see your father, see your lover, see your child, see your inner child. And people are bawling their heads off. because nobody takes the time to see each other deeply because of our society we live in. And this is why, if people actually, John, you know what people need? They just need to be seen. That's how they feel loved. You do that just being who you are. And you're the kind of person you are. You make people feel comfortable. And you say your superpower is to say you authenticity. You say what no one else
Yeah,
wants to say. You're
thank you.
authentic.
I,
So,
I didn't think about it that way, but thank you.
oh, I people call me on that. In fact, my kids say, "Mom, it's too much. Can you be a little softer?" I'm like, I'm telling you the truth. But
Yeah.
some people love me for that, other people don't because
Yeah.
they're not ready to hear it.
Yeah. One of my favorite songs of all time
Yeah.
is Whitney Houston's The
Oh,
Greatest Love of All,
oh, I
right?
cry every time.
Right? Learning to love yourself. It is the greatest love
I
of all.
know. As you're saying
And
this, I'm getting the chills. I can cry. I love
and
her so dearly.
yeah, it is it's and it is the greatest love of all.
The greatest,
And it's the hardest love
the
of all.
hardest.
And when you uh you're telling me and my audience to go to the mirror and look at yourself, and I've done that. I've
Uh-huh.
done that. And it's hard. It's
It's
really
really hard.
because you're sitting there looking at yourself in the mirror, and you're going, this is really stupid. Why am I doing this? Right? And but I resisted the temptation to just blow it off, right? And I just kept going. And I
Good.
found um, the longer I went at it,
Yeah.
the more peaceful I got with it.
Beautiful.
And so yeah, I love that, and I love the idea. I love your suggestion of 5 minutes. That's got to be really hard because you've got two people now that have to resist the temptation to just forget it. And yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that.
Listen, do this. This is beautiful for if you want to do this with your spouse,
Uh-huh.
and it's an activity I do for people who are not getting along. Look at this person, then go make love with this person after you look at them deeply in the eyes.
Wow. Wow. That is amazing. That is amazing.
The whole experience becomes a much more beautiful, sacred. It's sacred. It's a sacred experience.
At the beginning of at the beginning of our of this conversation, I
Yeah.
asked you a question and you said, "Man, that's a lot to unpack." But at the same time, you said, "But it's also very simple."
Right.
And I couldn't. That is so true, right? I
Mm,
mean, on the one hand, I mean, love is simple. It's
yeah.
But on the other hand, we make it so hard, you know, and but it's
There we
but
go.
it's all about love, and it's all about seeing people, and it's all about,
100%.
you
It
know,
shouldn't be, John. It should be that we see people and we just love them. I actually, and my dad, I've been accused that when I meet someone, I love them. I loved you when I met you,
uh-huh.
but not everyone's like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, that's right.
and it's not safe to do that. It's not
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And you can't just love everyone, but the truth, that's simple. Why not?
Yeah.
But it's complex because we can't trust everybody.
Yeah. And we all have our own experiences, and we all have our own backgrounds, and we've all been
Right.
through
But think
different
of little
things.
kids. They hold hands. They walk into 3 years old, 2 years
Yeah.
old, different colors, different genders. They don't care. I want to play with him. I want to play
Yeah.
with him.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Mm.
We got to just get back to our childhood. Oh, and not just, but there's a line here. So listen,
Listen,
I know we're running out of time.
yeah.
If people want to get more
Mm.
information, if people want to learn more about what you do, how do they do that?
Okay. Sure. First of all, it's such a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you. They can find me. I'm at callinginlove.org.
Calling.
That's our website.
Okay.
Facebook is Calling in Love. Instagram is at callingin.love. And they can text. Not te no, I'm not going to give my phone number. I don't trust everybody.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You love everybody, but
I love them. I don't want everybody. Yeah, so no, but yeah, the calling in there's our email is callinginlove360 @gmail.com.
okay,
So people
calling
can
in
reach me
love
there. And
360.
as I said, we run. John, I would love you to come. When did you come to Columbia to the retreat?
No kidding. No kidding.
You would be
I
great.
I will uh I'll be in touch with you on that.
Yeah, open
Yeah.
your heart. We just as people open their hearts, as each of us heals and opens, one of us heals the things we need to heal, and it becomes more open-hearted because we're all connected, we're healing each other. The
Yeah.
more we're all responsible for each other.
Yeah.
This is
Wonderful.
also, quantum physics. This is not just spiritual. This is also as the quantum physics, it's called quantum entanglement. But we're all connected on many, many levels.
Yes. Yes. That I know. That I know. Well, Leslie, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
This has been the word that I was going to just use, and I'll just is awakening. Awakening.
Oh,
It's really
thank
wonderful.
you.
It's really
Thank
wonderful,
you.
and I love the fact that you're doing this work and you're following your calling in love.
Yes,
And
thank you.
it's wonderful. So thank you for joining me. I love you. I hope you'll come back.
Thank you.
And folks, thank you for joining us.
Thank
God
you.
bless you. I love you. And johnsuzuki.com if you guys want any more information on what's going on. And I'm going to be building a page where you can download a whole bunch of information that's coming off my websites or coming off my podcasts. So anyway, thank you all. Thank you, Leslie. And we'll see you next time.
Thank
Bye.
you, John. Take care. God
You
bless.
too. Bye.